morning, everyone. My name is Bart van den Wijngaard, working for Ava Unified Security. I'm accompanied by my colleague Ana Garcia. She's in London and she will be a much better place to do a demo and answer any possible questions that you might have. Let me show you my screen. I hope you can see everything. So who are we? Who is Ava? As a brief introduction, we have two founders. One of them was the former CEO of Tandberg, who sold his company for 3.2 billion. The other one was the former CEO of Acano, who sold his company for 700 something million. So these both guys had some spare money and they decided to invest in possible innovative solutions. And they started more than 3 years ago. And it was more than 94 developers that were building two platforms that are currently our sales in the security world. One is a physical security solution, and the other is a cyber security solution. The rest of us, we're not a startup anymore. We are a scale-up of people who used to work at bigger companies or consultancy agencies. I myself have 20 years experience at Cisco. So more from the security, cybersecurity world and the IoT world, less from the CCTV world. Today we're here to talk about the cyber solution, and to start talking about that, our solution is a little bit different than what is on the market today. Whilst most of the solutions are currently defending the network and the servers and components, we are going out from, we're defending against insider threat from the human, from the employee himself. And that's a big difference, and you will notice why and how this is a big difference. So the employee is the first line of defense, and we see more and more, certainly with now people working from home, that they are under attack in order to get a privileged account to do some things that are not allowed to. And you can see those numbers here, and maybe they are a little bit big because it's worldwide numbers. And in America, for example, if you have a breach, the costs are normally, let's say 10 times more. I say 10 times. We had recently the Picanol case here in Belgium, where it has cost a little bit over 1 million euros in order to get back on track again. So it's not 10 million average, but 1 million. It's still a lot of money. And we need, as companies, also if you're going for specific ISO certifications, you need to be able to show that you're doing everything to defend your employees and to train your employees and to show that there's progression in how they are adapting your IT policy. And I'm talking about employees who are maybe not following the rules, but also don't know the rules, who disregard, who neglect, who breach the rules. You can read the verbs as I've written them down. So it doesn't need to be a malicious insider. It can be, of course, and our solution is protecting the company and the employee himself or herself in both cases. The second challenge that we're covering is you don't need to be a cyber level 3 specialist in order to be able to run our software and get to the results on a daily basis, to take actions or to see what's going on in your company. And that's a big advantage because today there's a lack of high-level cybersecurity specialists. So that's the second one. The third challenge that we're covering, and I already mentioned that we also have a physical security solution. So just 5 seconds on that. You can see it as a virtual, we're putting a virtual person behind every camera. And this person can see anything on the camera. He can count people. You can ask him how many people went left and subtract how many people went right. To go back 2 days at 10 a.m. to see who is around my car. So we're putting with artificial intelligence and machine learning and analytics that virtual person behind your camera. That's the physical part. Now, our third challenge, and that's why these two, cyber and physical, are coming together. We're one of the first in the world to bring these two together, is because these are two silos that we see that might, if you combine them, might create solutions or prevent risks that are there today. I give two examples. You're typing, you're going to get the coffee, and you forget to lock your PC. Somebody else passes by, starts typing. Our software will detect that somebody else is typing, will detect that your computer is accessing other servers, and then it might give a sign to the physical camera, say, hey, zoom in, give an alert to the guard, and make sure that he comes to this desk because something is going on that is not normal. That's one thing. Another possibility or use case is companies spend a lot of money on cyber solutions, and then they leave the door to the server room quite open. So with a badge, somebody can come in, or tailgating, you can come in. But that means you can plug in a computer, you can plug in a USB, you can do a lot of stuff. If you can then immediately send a signal to the camera, say, hey, somebody's in the serving room, we see things that are not normal, then you might be able to prevent these things. So we're not here to talk about the physical part. We have cameras there, we have the software, and we have an on-site and a cloud solution. That's one thing, but we're here to talk about the cyber part. Okay, you can see, and you probably have seen this cartoon before, but human error is key. And I always make the joke, unless you're Trump, you make errors. I make errors. So yeah, willingly or not willingly. With willingly, I mean you can be an employee that wants to get things done. So I need to send my 80 megabit presentation to Anna, but it's not doing through email, so I can send it via WeTransfer, which is not allowed by my company, but yeah, hey, I need to get it done, she needs to work on it, and blah, blah, blah. So that's a problem, and we can help with that. You have already mentioned the people that are not happy with what's going on in the company and might start selling their credentials on the dark web or something. So these also exist, and we can also block that and see what's going on. So we're really covering that first line of defense. Now, are we an EDR solution? Not really specifically an endpoint detection and response solution, no, but we cover 95% of functionalities in combination, for example, with the Windows Defender. We can cover that, all the use cases for an EDR. Are we data loss prevention solution? No, but we cover a lot, and we certainly give insight in what's going on and who is printing confidential things and who is taking screenshots of patient information, etc. And that's a very important thing to know. We're not really an IAM solution. We cover shadow IT, we cover user behavior analytics. You can see us as a new place, and we're talking to Gartner to see, hey, there's no quadrant yet, and they promised by the end of the year they will come out with at least a report, maybe not a quadrant, but a report, because they see that insider threat is becoming more and more an issue and needs solutions. And we're really targeted to insider threat. Now, I mentioned we are a startup, a scale-up, but we have some credentials already. So last year we won the US Cyber Command competition. And for the people that don't know it, it's kind of NSA-like competition where there is a virtual company of 100 employees put in a boxing ring, and all the contestants need to defend that company against all kinds of attacks and malware and what have you. We were there with 5 people, linking to the part that it's quite easy to operate our console. And we were up against the CrowdStrikes and the IBM securities of this world. CrowdStrike, excuse me, was asked to leave after 24 hours because they had more than 1,000 false positives for a company of 100 employees. That's far too much. Booz Allen Hamilton was there with more than 20 people on site, and even other people at a VPN in support. As I mentioned, we were with 5 people. We took home 6 out of the 9 categories and received the prize of best overall performance in covering insider threat. So for us, that was a huge thing. In the meantime, we also have received the Cyber Company of the Year award in the UK. We're currently a UK company. So we have some credentials and some signs that we're on the good track. We started selling in the US, then the UK, then Norway and Sweden, because our 2 owners are from there. And I started off the Benelux and the Central Europe office in May timeframe this year. Tech Data is a distributor of both our products, and we're going to the market together. So if you talk to your partners or your customers, don't talk about, they will talk about EDR or DLP, the things that they know. We talk about use cases. If, dear customer, if you're thinking about how to train your workforce, think about Ava Security, because you will see immediately in the demo how we're doing that. If you want to protect your data, think about Ava Security. If you want to know what's going on, I'll give you an example. At my previous company, some colleagues left and took a lot of confidential information to Polycom. Cisco knew but couldn't do anything, couldn't prove. Well, with our solution, we could have seen that 3 weeks before they resigned. It's then that people start downloading things and copying things on personal computers and USBs. But with our solution, you can see, hey, this is what you did with this confidential file. So you have it, and you've taken things that are proprietary of the company. Mentioning the compliance gaps, if you are in utilities, if you are in healthcare, if you are in finance, if you are in an ISO certification track, then you have a lot of compliance to think of, and to make sure that your employees are following those things. We can help a lot with that. And well, it's like our customer, a healthcare company or a hospital in Sweden says, we are making the static IT policy alive. So we can focus, and IT can focus, and the crew can focus on core business and not on following rules. If you do something wrong, you immediately get a highlight and say, hey, what you're doing now, you're copying social security numbers, you're copying, you're sending credit card information with a name, you're sending, you're holding patient or any information that is confidential. Take care, or we can even block. And with that, I give the word to my colleague Anna, who will show you in the system a little bit how it's done and how we're working. We go to the market only through partners and via Tech Data in the Benelux. So that's our way to market, and that's, I think, why both of our companies are a good fit to attack the market. Anna?
Yeah, thank you, Bart. Before I do that, are there any questions for Bart, or make sense? Okay. So I'll go ahead and show you. So I will show you first one more slide just to explain how it works, just high-level architecture, and then I will do a live demo. So how it works, we are an endpoint solution. So we have a very lightweight agent that you deploy on every machine you want to monitor. And this can be laptop, workstations, servers. We support Windows, Mac, and Linux. And from day one, when you deploy the agent, without any configuration, it starts collecting all the different events that you see here. So those events, they have been designed to track what's happening on the endpoints and where is the data going. So we can see if a sensitive file go to the cloud, if it's printed, copied to USB, but we also see the URLs that the users go to, any applications they opened. All of that is captured from day one, so no configuration needed, which is important because some other solutions in the market, they require a lot of configuration before you can get any intel. So as soon as the data is collected, it's also sent to a backend server that can be hosted on premises. So the customer can have it in their data centers or in the cloud. We have both options. The architecture, so we also have a firewall traversal solution. So that means when the users are not on the corporate network, now everyone is working from home, but if you are on the road connected to a public Wi-Fi, your home Wi-Fi, we still have visibility into what's happening on the endpoint, even when the users are offline. So the solution, we have two types of sensors. We have machine learning sensors. So the agent will learn what's normal behavior for the users. And after a couple of weeks, if there are anomalies like the time of the day or the amount of data sent and received, the ML will raise a sensor. But also we have policy sensors. So out of the box, we have over 100 policies that you can enable. And those are rules. So if something happens, you also get an alert. We give the option to the customers, if they already have a very strong IT policy, to customize those rules if they want to. Okay, so the idea here is as soon as the agent is on the machine, you'll have visibility into what's going on. And the last part of the solution, as we have an agent at kernel level, we can take action on the endpoint. So if we think the machine has been compromised, you can isolate it from the network. We can block the uploads, we can lock the computer, and we can also display messages. So as Bart said, this is for the incident-based training. So we know instead of sending the employees once a quarter to a security and awareness training online, that you can do that as well, but you can also train them on the spot as they are making the mistakes. Okay, so that's how it works. Any questions there? Make sense? Okay, so let me actually go ahead and show you. So I'll show you from the user's point of view first, and then I will log into the admin console and I'll show you how we capture everything and the type of reports that you can get. So this is just a normal user. So I'm going to do a couple of things here. So I'll log into my OneDrive and I'm going to download sensitive files. So I will download the Ava Reveal roadmap. That one is a confidential file. And the second one, I will download the online transactions for an item. That one has credit card details. So if your companies are already classifying the data, if they use Microsoft Information Protection, or if they use Titus or any other data classification tools, we can read the labels and alert. But if they are not classifying the data, we can also do content inspection, look for regular expressions within the file, and alert if we spot sensitive data, credit card details, social security numbers, and all of that. So my data has not been classified, it's just normal documents. So I'll I'll show you what we do. So if I try to share one of the documents here, I'll use Teams. Everyone is using all the collab tools these days. So you saw that pop up. So it says, do not share this document externally as it contains credit card details. So that pop-up is optional. Just if you want to train the user, you can enable it. Otherwise, the agent is tracking that the user is trying to share that document in Teams, okay? So if it's an internal chat, then that might be allowed, but we can also add here a URL. So you can redirect the user to the company IT policy or acceptable use policy and make them read the section about how to handle the data. It's just most of us maybe read this when we started, and now maybe we forgot on, or we are not even aware of it. So this is a way just to train the user and make them do the right thing. So another example might be, I think Bart mentioned this one, trying to share the presentation is too big, and we might use something like WeTransfer that is not sanctioned within the company. So if I go ahead now here and try to upload the roadmap, that's a confidential file, and I will also block it. So the user cannot upload that. And again, you have the option to deploy the tool as a monitoring tool without any actions. So you get the visibility, the company gets the visibility, and then they can decide, or you can also enable the actions in this case. So some other examples, so I'll show you a use case where the user might be malicious and might want to take data with them. So I'm going to rename one of the files. So if I go to my downloads, I'll rename the online transaction. So I want to keep that one with all the credit card details of my customers and send it to myself. So I'm gonna call it shopping list. And then I'll go to my personal Gmail and email that file to myself. So let me create an email. And I will attach, and now this one is called shopping list. And you see there straight away, even though, of course, the name is different, we are still alerting that that one contains credit card details as we are doing the inspection on the content, right? So that's a sensitive file. You shouldn't email that to yourself. And that will be the same if the user plugs in a USB, copies the data, prints data, even at home. We can give the visibility of what the file contained. More things, sometimes you might not just upload the whole file, you might just copy the content. So in my example here, I will do Control C, just copying the content. So we also inspect the clipboard. And if I now use like a third-party translation services, for example, you shouldn't be posting their sensitive data because you don't own where that data goes to the cloud. It's not it's not your data anymore. Anyone could use it. So here again, we are monitoring that. And as Bart mentioned, even screenshots. So if I have a particular program where I'm hosting sensitive data like patient records or low-level diagrams for my customer deployments, we can monitor when that is in the foreground if someone is trying to take a screenshot. So I'll do that here. So here you see that screenshot will be monitored. If I now go ahead, close this and try to take a different one, that one, we are okay with that. But we'll be monitoring if someone is just taking screenshots of certain things they shouldn't. So a lot with data and data protection, but also sometimes users will use their laptop, their corporate laptop, for other things. And more now, people working from home, they might get their kids to play with a laptop, and that will put the company data and the company as a whole at risk. So if I go, for example, here and try to download the torrent file, you see I'm monitoring that action. That could be any content, adult content, or anything that you don't want your users to do on the corporate machine. And you see it here is even before I go ahead and click on the site or download it. So you can see we are monitoring that. And I'll show you just one last example. In this case, I'll download the file. So I'm going to download, this is just a malware, and you can see I downloaded a file that contained malware. It was spotted, and also now my machine has been isolated from the network, so I don't, so it doesn't spread. So that's an option as well that you can have, or if you don't want to have that action automated, you can have the SOC looking at the logs and then taking the action. So yeah, that's those are different use cases. We have many, so depending on the needs, we have many policies. So those were just like 3 examples. So let me show you how we capture everything in the backend. So if you have the resources in-house, you have a SOC or you have a team of analysts, you can have access to our backend. This is our landing page. And what we see here is just a list of the different users and servers in the environment, and we give them a risk score depending on how risky that user is. So we are profiling the user. So you see Bart is critical, and then we have all the way to medium and low. Of course, this is a demo platform, but before I forget, so I will show you the demo with full access. So I get to see the name of the user, the name of the machine, but we also in Europe, is very important for privacy to have the option to anonymize the data. So we have role-based access control. So if an operator doesn't have full access, what they see here is everything is anonymized. It's the same instance, but you see the names are fake names. And if they are trying to see what happened, everything that is sensitive will be redacted. So you don't get to see who you are investigating. For my demo, I'll show you what I've done just with full access, so you get to see. So everything that happens in the endpoint is sent to the backend in real time. So this is my user, and you see here we have the timeline of the events. So it's very easy to go and see, okay, was the user doing this and prove the intent, or maybe was it the machine that was compromised, right? And it was just a script doing everything. So I'll go to 9. So I'm in London, so I'm 1 hour behind you. So 9:22. You can see what I did. So I downloaded sensitive files. So you see the roadmap. You see here also the online transactions. Let me show you everything. So you can select the time frame. So then I'll try to share one of them with Teams. It's quite easy to paint a picture of what was happening, right? So then I also try to upload it to Roadmap. Something that we have as an option, you don't need to enable it, but if the violation is critical for you and you want to have an extra audit trail of what happened, we can also take small, like screenshots in motion of the violation. So in this example, when the user violates the policy, you also get this, is a carousel view of screenshots. So you see the user doing that as well. So that's optional. You don't need to enable it if the customer doesn't want. So that happened. Then you see here, I'm renaming the file. So it goes from online transactions to shopping list. Then you see I try to upload it to my Google Mail. So you see the intent here. This one can be a bit more malicious because I'm changing the name of the file just to email it to myself. Then everything else, you get to see it. So copying that content, pasting that into Google Translate, and even taking the screenshots, downloading the torrents, and then you can see at the end, I also got a virus. So you get to see everything, so it's easy to prove what's happening. On top of that, so you can investigate, of course, the user if you see the alerts. We can send those alerts to a third party tool. So some customers might have already a SIM in their SOCs and they might want to see everything there as a single pane of glass. We can send sensors or alarms to those systems. We also have here in the UK an MSSP. They, in their SOC, they like to get a ticket raised when there is a critical alert. So we have an integration with ServiceNow. If there is a critical incident, a ticket gets raised, the first line guys can have a look at it and follow the playbook. So they can do that as well. Instead of having to monitor this 24/7, they can come here just to get the context of what was happening. So that's possible. And then of course you can get all the reports from the platform. So you can select, okay, show me what's been happening in my environment over the last week, over the last month. And you can see, if you click on it, what the users have been doing. And sometimes when we deploy this into customers for the first time, they are not aware of everything that is happening, and they might have other tools, and we can show as well if those tools they have in place are working as they should. So they might think they had USB blocked, and some users are getting away with connecting USB devices. Some users might be using Dropbox. They might not be aware of WhatsApp or anything. So you get to see everything that is happening in the environment, how many people are doing it. So you might have a small problem and you might just have to train a couple of people to tell them you shouldn't do that. But if you see here 53 users or 100 users, maybe you have a bigger problem. You have to change your IT policy, and you get to see, okay, which are the users that might need more training or might be acting maliciously. So you see here the list and every detail of what happened with the policy violation, the description, the timestamp, and you can save this as a report. And just if you are investigating something, or even if you just want to see what's the risk in the environment, you just get that. You can have it in a weekly, monthly basis, just those reports. Make sense? Makes sense. Okay, so that's when you have the resources in-house to do all the threat hunting and look at the data, but we also have analyst services. So we have a big team of analysts, tier 3 analysts, that can do all this for the customer. And they can provide inside the risk reports, even just maybe before the engagement as a one-off, just to show them the status of their environment. Or if you sell the service, they can do it on a monthly or quarterly basis. And I'll let Bart explain, and I will show you how those look.
Yes, thank you for the demo, Anna. Quite clear, thank you. So what Anna is showing here is really a document that we can offer. Normally it's a paying solution, but for the first, for the next, I think 5 weeks still, we're offering this one time for free. Should you have partners or customers that want to go with us, they can get in and they can show the customer for free with this document what's going on in their environment. I think it's a powerful tool to use, because that will show the customer first where the breaches are, where the gaps are in their policy or in their environment. and see how easy it will be or could be to amend them. So you can see it's a high level and a deep report of what's going on, and very interesting. So for us, we see that every sale is being done through a proof of concept, which is followed then by this document, which we can offer now for the launch for free. So it's right now to go out and show this and use this to our advantage, or hopefully your advantage and our partners' advantage, and at the end, customer advantage. Voila, that's it.